And I think that in that business, if you're going to beat yourself up, you should be able to enjoy the work that you do. Another thing that I think this is a personal feeling of mine that I think the WWE has a problem with is a lot of things feel rushed. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way. I'm not going to assume saying that my word is the Supreme Court because it's not. There are many times I'm wrong. There are times that I'm right. I feel that a lot of the things they do is rushed. There's not really a chance to enjoy it. Um, I don't think you should. I don't think greatness can be rushed. It's a slow build process, especially when it's on television. Um, so yeah, I feel that they rush through a lot of their shows. That's another thing that I feel that is a big problem that the WWE has, and they probably won't see it as a problem because they make money off the shows, but there's way too many shows during the week. You know, it's not as special as it was before in, okay, let me see. I only got to see The Undertaker once a week when I was a kid. So anytime I saw him, it meant something. Anytime I got to see him come out and have a match or cut a promo, I was extremely interested and I was emotionally invested. And I feel that the overexposure of their characters and their performers hurts them in the long run. I think that overexposing your talent roster and overexposing yourself not only hurts your product, but it also hurts your future product, especially in the pay-per-view markets. I feel the pay-per-view markets have been suffering terribly because they're given pay-per-view quality stuff on Raw and SmackDown. That's another problem they have. They give away too much pay-per-view quality on free television, and then you wonder why the pay-per-views lately have been dipping. It ain't because of one guy. It ain't because somebody was missing from the roster. You give away great stuff on Raw. Now, hey, listen. Am I glad I get to see stuff and I'm going to pay for it? Sure I am. But if I'm looking to, okay, I'll give another example. Over here, I have a ton of DVDs. Tons of them. And a lot of them are pay-per-views. From 2000, I want to say the single pay-per-view DVDs are from 2000 all the way up to now. And obviously I have box sets from the Rumbles, the Manias, the Survivor Series, and SummerSlams, and the King of the Rings. I managed to find those. They're actually pretty cool. Those pay-per-views that I ordered on DVD were because the pay-per-views were great quality from top to bottom. There was like one or two pay-per-views that I bought because of one or two specific matches. But a lot of the pay-per-views I bought were because from top to bottom they were good, or at least 85% of the pay-per-view was good, even if the main event wasn't. Because they didn't just show all the great stuff on Raw. Yeah, they showed great stuff on Raw, but they saved their best for the pay-per-views. See, as a writer, because I write a lot of poetry and short stories, I view every single Raw as building up to a pay-per-view, and the end of the chapter is the pay-per-view. And that's where you have your grand finale, the end of the chapter, and then you move forward, whether you're continuing an angle or you're beginning a new one. You save your best stuff for the pay-per-views, and they haven't been doing that. Survivor Series is a great example. I got the match I wanted to see at Survivor Series on Monday Night Raw. And the reason that I got annoyed with that is not because I'm a Mark or an IWC Alex, you fucking pain in the ass. It's because I also looked at the reaction from the 1 or 2 weeks before. The crowd ate that entire segment up when the 6-on-6 had their battle. That is basically the fans telling you, hey, Vince, this is Survivor Series because there's one team here and one team over here. We want to see them clash in a Survivor Series match. It ain't that fucking hard. Oh. And here's one thing that annoys me about this page. And yeah, I'm going to complain about the page, is that if you're emotionally invested, you're considered a nut. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Albino. Let me ask you a question. The greatest moments in the history of the business were the fans just sitting there aimlessly, not giving a shit. As you like to say on a lot of things, I don't give a fuck. No, the best moments in the history of the business when the fans were going absolutely bonkers. They were going ballistic. When Vince got stunned for the first time from Vince McMahon, were people just sitting there laughing? No, they were going nuts because Steve Austin put the boss on his ass. That's from the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. Let's see, what can I pull out of there? When the Big Show and Brock Lesnar imploded the ring. I don't recall a single fan just sitting in their seats. People were going ballistic. Today, it's considered marking out. Now, today, if you go nuts, you're considered marking out. Back then, it was just you enjoying the show and going nuts. How times have changed. I'm not changing with the times. I'm stuck in the past. Same with my music. Jimi Hendrix. I ain't moving with this generation because I think this generation sucks. But yeah, the best moments in the history of the business, the fans were going nuts, and most of the best moments were made because of the fans' reaction. Isn't that what the business is all about? You know, bathroom humor once in a while is funny. I enjoy a good joke. Believe me, I'm big on comedians. But you know, like I said, the biggest moments in history of the business had the fans going nuts. They weren't just sitting there quiet, not doing a fucking thing. They were going ballistic. And I think that if more people were emotionally invested, you'd have more moments remembered. You're not going to have too many moments like that anymore because, unfortunately, there are people much like yourselves that think the way Alex does, that if you go nuts, you're stupid or you're crazy. I think that if there were more fans like myself that were emotionally invested, they'd have better quality because they know the fans actually give a shit and they don't just show up because they're wired to show up. The quality would be better. I know that when CM Punk had his match with John Cena in Chicago, if that was in any other city, if that match was in any other city, and I think I'll get a lot of people to back me on this, if the CM Punk John Cena match for the title when he was going to walk out was in any other city, the match wouldn't have meant as much. It was all about the Chicago crowd. It was all about their reaction, about their love for CM Punk, because he was pointing out that the WWE is way too political, way too childish, and that it acquiesced to the guys that are, for whatever reason, fit Vince's vision, not the fans' vision, and their hatred of John Cena. Because that's what it was. They call him the most controversial, but let's be honest, it's hatred. 75% of the crowd hates him, 25% loves him. Sorry, my math was off there for a second. He ain't never going to change. We've all accepted that, I think. Although some of us, like myself, wish that he would just tweak his character a little bit. One of the reasons I love Taker, always evolved with the times. There was always a tweak in his character. Wasn't much, you don't need to change much. Tweak it a little bit. Whether it's his costume, whether it's his character, whether it's his moveset, he was always evolving with the times. And I think that when Taker goes in the Hall of Fame, that'll be one of the things he's remembered for. But getting back on track, the biggest problem that the WWE has, in my opinion, is that they think that they know better than the audience. And I've asked several salespeople this question, people that own businesses, people that are very wealthy, people that on Staten Island, for those of us that live on Staten Island, they live on Toad Hill. And you know that ain't just the regular suburbs, though that's where fucking rich people live on this island. And I've heard pretty much every single one, with the exception of one, because he's an arrogant prick, and a lot of people I know that know him know that. They've all said, you never know more than the consumer. You never know more than your consumer. The customer is always right because they are giving you their money. So you have to acquiesce to what they want. And it's very simple. And I feel that if Vince McMahon wasn't so arrogant, he'd understand that. But unfortunately, I think it's too far gone. They ain't going to listen to the audience anymore, and that's that. But I'm going to stick with what my grandfather used to tell me. If you don't complain, there's no change. So I'll keep complaining.